Now I'd like to call on Dixon Griswold, President of Highwater Wealth Management, to introduce today's program.
Happy Soup Day. Today we're privileged again to have Tammy Dorr, President and CEO of the Downtown Denver Partnership, with us. The Downtown Denver Partnership is a membership organization of over 600 member businesses that creatively plan and manage downtown Denver in regards to development, retail, public policy, and housing. In 2007, the DDP constructed its 20-year downtown area plan, and Tammy is co-chair of that committee, which through her energy and leadership is now implementing that plan. Tammy was a Denver Business Journal 40 under 40 honoree, is a member of the Young Presidents Organization and the Colorado Women's Forum. Please welcome Tammy Dorr.
Can everyone hear me okay? I think that there was some concerns about the mic, so all good? All right, great. Well, good afternoon. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today because I love to talk about our great city, Denver, and even more importantly, I love to talk about the heart of our city, downtown Denver. There is a resurgence in cities in the world. As we go forward, more people will be living in cities than any other time in our world's history. And why is that? There are many, many different components that are attributing to why that's happening. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. I'm going to talk about how we build the city, why we build the city, and who we're building the city for. So to start out, I actually do know a number of you in the room, and hopefully many of you are familiar with the rich history of the Downtown Denver Partnership. But we were founded in 1955, and the purpose of our founding was really to help create a great city that would remain economically viable. The city leaders, both public and nonprofit and private sector, understood that no matter how great your region was, and no matter how great your city was, the only thing that really perpetually branded who you were was what your downtown looked like day in and day out. So it was very, very visionary of them to create this organization, given the fact that when they did, downtowns were actually thriving in this country. So they weren't struggling, they were doing very well. So they were thinking about how do we sustain it and continue to make it great. After our launch, we really worked on a number of projects: infrastructure improvements, business attraction, business retention, and really creating a sense of community and ownership of our center city. Later, the Downtown Denver Partnership began to be really recognized nationally for its great work in developing long-term plans, and not just creating these plans, but really following through with them. We created a 20-year plan back in 1987. How many of you knew that we had a 20-year plan in 1987? A few. I know Peter Bose does. Where's Peter? Over here? There's Peter, a huge leader in our organization. But in 1987, we created a 20-year plan, and a lot of really amazing projects came out of that. Expansion of the convention center, some of that work was done in advance, but all as part of planning for that 20-year vision. We also worked on the 16th Street Mall, attraction of stadiums. There was one really big project in that 20-year plan that actually, it was one of the few things that didn't happen. Does anybody know what it is? How about a lake in the middle of downtown with a bandstand? Apparently nobody was really thinking about drought, and we have some water issues here. So, needless to say, the fact of the matter is that not only did our community come together to create this plan, they followed through and they delivered on the results. In 2007, we really looked back and saw that the work of that plan had really been completed. And it was something that we should all as a community take great pride in. We launched a new planning process and created a new 20-year plan. We do better than almost any other city in creating these long-term plans. We stick with them and make them part of everything that we do. So the new plan, focused on creating an economically vital and vibrant downtown, doesn't vary much from the original vision and original focus. We have 5 key vision elements. We have 1,000 transformative projects within the plan, and we have 7 visionary projects that will take up to 20 years to complete. So that's the framework in which we're operating. All of those components go back to 3 key things: people, place, and business. People, place, and business are what create our cities. So I want to take the framework of that plan today, and I want to talk a little bit about each of those pieces. Number 1, the people. I mentioned earlier, we have to think about who are we building a city for? Well, in theory, we're building the city for everyone. No barrier to entry. People can come, they can thrive culturally, they can thrive from a business perspective, or they can just be a resident absorbing the sights and sounds of their community. But right now, from a people perspective, we are extremely focused on the millennial generation. And there are some very significant reasons for this. Number 1, historically in our nation, companies could attract employees from anywhere. So if you moved your company to Timbuktu and you had jobs that paid well, people would follow to go to the company. That is absolutely no longer true. For the first time in our nation's history, millennials will have the opportunity to live anywhere in the globe and have easy access to those jobs. So instead of hunting the big elephants and moving big companies to a city, our focus economic development-wise has to shift. We have to be focused on how we build a place to attract the future workforce. The other key point about this workforce is this will be the largest workforce ever to enter the work environment at one time. They will outnumber all 3 generations ahead of them that are still currently in the workforce when they enter in full force. Their impact is going to be huge. So we need to understand, what do they want and need? Over 80% of them will first choose where to live and then choose where to work. So Denver has to be one of those first choices. I'm proud to say that right now we are the number 1 destination for millennials to work and live in the nation by Brookings Institution. Thank you. We should give that a round of applause. It's not by accident. Make no mistake, it's not about the mountains. We hear that all the time. It is not about the mountains. These individuals want to live and work in a diverse and thriving city. They want to live within 3 miles of where they work, and they want transit. And one of the number 1 things that they are asking their employers for before they take on a job is there a bike lane that will take me from my place of residence to my place of employment? So years back, would we have ever thought that bike lanes were a primary economic development tool? No, but they are now. And the partnership and the city are embarking on a very significant protected bike lane program for our city. So when you see it and you think that's great, people can ride bikes, understand the reason is we need to get these employees to come to Denver and take these jobs. I can talk a lot about why that workforce is so important, but I think I wanted today to frame out the primary point that we are carefully and strategically looking at what they want from an infrastructure standpoint, what they want from a policy standpoint, and the last piece of it is they really want is to come into a city and be given a place to have a voice. You know, historically, we said, you've got to earn your right to stand on a stage. You've got to earn your right to be called a vice president of whatever, and then you can tell the community what's important. They're picking cities that say, hey, come to us and share your best ideas, and we'll let you be part of it. And Denver has that culture, so it's been a tremendous advantage. I talked about people, place, and business. The second piece is creating a great urban place. That's the heart of city building. How do you create a great place? So we have a number of major projects underway that range from everything to what our streetscapes look like, to what our pedestrian environment looks like. We just are finishing off 14th Street right now. Many of you know it didn't look so hot not that long ago. And we counted pedestrians and bikers on that street before we redeveloped it, and the numbers were extremely low. When we opened the street, fully redeveloped, the pedestrian counts have gone up 300%, and bike counts have gone up 200%. What does it mean? It means people are using the street. When people use the street, they visit the amenities that are on the street, and they create an impact on the economy. They keep it safer, they keep it activated, and they brand us in a better way. So that's done. We continue to work on the redevelopment of 16th Street. We are working on acquiring $65 million. We are tearing out the entire 16th Street Mall and rebuilding the infrastructure. Be careful where you walk because, the infrastructure is a little weak, and I don't know at what point you're going to actually fall through a paver, and I don't know where we're going to find you when you do. But it's just the truth. It's going to take a while. I understand there are social issues that we are dealing with on the 16th Street Mall. Some of it is solvable, and some of it is simply the fact that we are a diverse city, we are an urban environment, and we as a city are going to be faced with the challenges that in a very linear urban environment, you're going to see it all in a concentrated place. Let me tell you, I'm from Detroit. I know what tough urban environments look like, and I can also tell you we didn't have panhandlers, and we didn't have the kind of social problems that we see in parts of our center city. Why? Because nobody was in Detroit, and so there was no reason to panhandle. And I know it seems really funny, but it is the truth. When you have people that have money and are activating a space, you're going to have individuals out there that are seeking help and support. So urban planning, we're looking at a lot on how we redevelop the 16th Street Mall. The other project I want to let you know that we're working on is there's a 30-block area called Arapahoe Square in downtown. How many of you know where Arapahoe Square is? Very few hands. I will tell you, if you're looking to buy property, you need to buy property in Arapahoe Square. And everybody looks at me and says, there's nothing there. Of course there's nothing there. That's why the time is now to buy property there. We're doing a comprehensive plan to redevelop that 30 blocks. Mixed use, because of the zoning, that will end up being the most dense urban mixed-use neighborhood in the entire state of Colorado. When? Probably 15 to 20 years. That's why I say now is the time to buy. Get that. We've got an infrastructure in terms of a street grid. We don't have many historic preservation issues to deal with. We have a lot of empty surface parking lots that could be redeveloped, and we really believe that this will be an amazing expansion as Denver continues to grow. So keep your eye on that, and if you have any great ideas for projects and uses in that area, please let me know. We're developing the plan now. People and place. I'm not going to talk much more about place. I really don't need to say much about Union Station. You know everything great that's happening there. And we put so much into helping it get to the point that it's at now. I think what's most exciting for me and for the partnership is all the seeds we're planting for the future. Just like way back, the partnership led an effort to redevelop the Central Platte Valley and remove the rail lines. That's the kind of seeds we're planting right now in Arapahoe Square. So keep your eyes on that. The last piece of our core pillars is business. And obviously, we're a private sector organization. We do not receive any public funding for our work. We do partner with the public sector, and sometimes the public sector contracts with us to do work for them, but we do not receive public funds. So with that said, in terms of business, our primary focus, we believe business drives the economic sustainability of any city, and therefore must be our primary focus. We're focused on creating a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. Why? Because startups that grow here are likely to stay here. Big companies that come here want to work with innovative partners and innovative vendors and help to grow innovative companies. And even more so, being innovative and entrepreneurial helps brand our city, which, going back to people, attracts that next generation of workers. We have two big initiatives in this area. Number one, we wanted to create a conference here that focused on startups and innovation that was renowned in the nation and branded our city as a place that if you wanted to start a business, this is where you need to come. 2 years ago, we started Denver Startup Week. In 2 years, Denver Startup Week has become the largest entrepreneurial event in North America. We actually had over 6,000 people participate, and there is no cost to participate and attend any of the events during Denver Startup Week. We produced over 125 events throughout that week and received over 1,000 media hits outside of the state of Colorado. That's telling our story, and that's why we launched that program. The other piece is we are preparing to assume 1245 Champa. That's the building right near Spear Boulevard on Champa, 40,000 square foot building, which we will be redeveloping into an entrepreneurial center, converging public, private, and nonprofit partners to be a central place, a central gathering place, a central resource center for anyone in any sector that wants to start a company in our city. What's unique about it is, think of it, back to how we build cities, it's like a public park for entrepreneurs. You can gather, you can share ideas, you can bring your best ideas and have other people give you input, but there will also be programming, educational series, speaking events, and it will be a community-built, community-driven, community-led, and community-owned gathering space to tell the world that this is a place that you can start and grow your company. So with that said, that's how we're working right now to create and build our center city. There's a lot more. You don't have all afternoon, but I would keep talking. I'm going to be available after for more questions, but we have some time for questions. So I'll open it up to you, and then that way we can touch on some things you might wonder about. If it's dirty laundry and you want some answers to that, I will be more than happy to respond. Just want it to be transparent. Okay.
I'm wondering what elements of education at K through 12 or preschool through 12th grade goes into your thinking, holistic thinking around developing Denver.
So the question is, what elements of education are in part of our city building plan, or?
Yes, I mean, is in attracting businesses and in developing amenities and quality of life, do you have conversations with the education systems?
Yes, thank you. So there are so many areas to focus on in education. The components we focus on are the educational aspects that help build our city and help drive business. So we do a tremendous amount of work with the institutions on the Auraria campus. I chaired the campus for 4 years and still serve on the board. We focus a lot on how to connect. One of our 7 transformative projects is connecting the Auraria campus better physically, but also by physically creating a stronger connection, connecting the students to the Center City business for true collaboration and partnerships going forward. The second piece is, in order to attract future workers for our companies that want to live in the Center City, we needed an elementary school. So we focus more on the physical aspect of getting the school. We actually worked for 30 years to get an elementary school down here. I'm thrilled to say that just this year we were finally able to open the Downtown Denver Expeditionary School. Downtown Denver is its campus. They will learn about transit. They will use our public libraries, our cultural institutions. So with that said, not only will they be part of our Center City community, fill the amenity need for workers and employees wanting to live in the heart of a city, but they will also be programming into their educational process what it takes to build a great city, how to own a city, and how to be part of it. So we're working to integrate that philosophy with the school into their curriculum.
Hi, Tammy. Thanks for being here. It's very inspirational and exciting to hear about the future plans for Denver. When you asked the question in the room, I didn't see any hands go up when you said, has anybody heard of Arapahoe Square? And not only did nobody raise their hand, but can you tell us where it is and why that particular area is going to be plans for expansion?
Well, I'll tell you, but you're going to have to buy fast because when it gets out, I'm telling you. Arapahoe Square. Actually, if you are in 5 Points, heading out of downtown, and you look to your left, It's all the property all the way over into the ballpark district. So that area, think about when you leave the center city, when you leave what you think is downtown, and you hit the sea of parking lots. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. So just on the other side of Welton Boulevard, or Welton Street is where it begins, and basically leading almost all the way to the ballpark.
Thank you for your comments. Can you tell us the position of the partnership on homelessness? I know that's become a controversial issue. The public and private sector do not have consensus on this issue. Homeless come in many different shapes and forms, and I would hope you can tell us some good things of what the partnership can do.
Yeah, thank you. So, okay, how many people saw this story in the paper? It's okay. Yeah, there you go. Listen, the partnership is steadfast in its commitment to social issues. We actually we're one of the creators of the 10-year plan to end homelessness. I've chaired the Homeless Commission for several years. The partnership actually has 3 social service workers full-time. They are actually certified social service workers that all they do is work the streets and help move individuals into services that can help them get into transitional housing or meet their interim housing needs. So we are committed. We're spending anywhere from $500,000 to $700,000 a year ourselves on homeless and related social issues. We believe that the key to solving homelessness is through both making sure that you have the services available, and we advocated very hard to get funding, which we just received this year, about $10 or $11 million worth of funding to help do some expansion work with the Denver Rescue Mission, as well as to build a rest and resource center. In addition, right now, I'm working with the state and the city with a vision we have to create an additional 250 transitional housing units, and working on getting the funding for that. So I'm looking to try to raise $6 to $7 million from the public and private sector. So what I would say is that I'm not exactly sure that the public and private sector don't agree. In fact, I actually believe the public and private sector are quite aligned. The key is that sometimes groups want everybody to work in every realm. And the only way to be successful is for each group, entity, leader to figure out the areas they can create the greatest impact and stay true to their vision, stay true to their values, and stay true to having a bias for action, which is what the partnership is committed to doing. We've received a lot of controversy. We did write the urban camping ban. We did take it to city council. We did so because many individuals on the streets of Denver suffer from mental illness and drug addiction, and in many cases are not capable of making their own decision about getting housing or getting into a shelter. And that ban actually, all it says is, if you are approached by the police and you are camping out in a public space or right-of-way, and there is a bed available for you, you must take the bed. Otherwise, you'll get a ticket. There's never been a ticket written since the ban's been in place. Why? Because our goal is simply to get the individuals moved into housing or to shelter. That was a long answer, but obviously there's a lot of misinformation in the media. We tend to not fight back on it because we're so committed to our goal and our focus. We just stay on course. I hope that answered your question. Okay.
Tammy, could you give a little bit of information about how the Downtown Denver Partnership is structured, and how do you influence city leaders to execute on your 20-year plan?
The partnership is structured. We actually consist of about 7 different organizations. For example, we founded the Business Improvement District, which is 120 blocks. We founded the General Improvement District on 14th Street. That's part of our family of entities. We also created the Theater District, not to be confused with the Performing Arts Center, but all of the big screens you see around downtown, we receive revenue from that to activate arts and culture in downtown. In addition, we have several other nonprofit entities that address everything from urban planning to economic development and public policy. All of those come under this umbrella of the Downtown Denver Partnership with one core vision: create an economically viable and vibrant downtown and use the downtown area plan to do so. The way we work with the public sector is literally we view each other as being on the same team. We developed the 20-year plan together. Therefore, we all have ownership of it, and we all work together and collaborate to achieve the mission in the plan. The key to our organization's long-standing success is the fact that we believe relationships win the war, and period. We don't fight battles to lose the war. We've built very strong relationships in almost every sector in this community, and we manage them, support them, and value them above almost all else we do. And I know it's like what we all learned, as kids. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver, the other's gold. Our relationships are gold. That's how we're building this city together.
Yep. Hi. Thanks for coming here and speaking today. I know your focus is downtown. Can you relate a little bit of what your work is right now to what's going on in Globeville, Elyria, Swansea, the Sock Show, and how that all works with Arapahoe Square and then downtown?
Yeah, so there are many projects happening in some of our neighborhoods throughout the city, particularly if you look over at the Stock Show complex and what that will evolve into. I serve on the project management team for the National Western, and that is going to be a significant economic boom for our city as that gets built out and as those neighborhoods prosper even more. A center city can only be as strong as its surrounding areas, and the surrounding areas can only be as strong as the core center city. So we take very seriously how we can bring our expertise and political leverage to that respective work. One of the core tenets in the downtown area plan is to build strong connections to adjacent areas so that each area can cross-leverage economic impact, and also so that ideas can be shared and best practices can be shared. So we're often called upon throughout the state, as well as the city, to bring our city-building expertise to the table, and we're thrilled to share it, particularly in projects like these redevelopment areas, because, as I said, the stronger they are, the stronger the center city will be. So we're hand in hand in many of those broader projects in the city. Okay. I'm very grateful for your time, and thank you for caring about our city as much as we do, and I do.
Tammy? I have a small certificate of appreciation. You have spoken to us in the past, so today we are going to give a donation to the Polio Plus Fund in your name. Thank you so much. Well, enjoy the first day of spring that was so wonderfully expressed in Mary's reading of Robert Frost's poem. In fact, Brian shared a complimentary spring joke for me. Spring is here, and I'm so excited I wet my plants. So anyway, I would like to make sure that you all welcome Christy Schaefer and thank her for her service. Sign up for the district conference. I'd like to invite Mark and Peg to please stand at the doorway so you can all greet them as we leave. Next week's program is Max Wizik, CEO of Public Radio, the future of journalism. Thank you so much. Have a great week.